know if we're live. Are we live?
Hello, everybody. I believe we are live.
What's going on?
We're doing our best. All right, so I'm going to send out some tweets real quick so everyone knows what's happening. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming to our first live stream. We're going to be taking your questions. We have a couple questions banked. We're also going to be going into Campfire Blaze, building out a story from scratch.
Yeah, but first, I mean, everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows who I am. Who's this guy?
Nobody knows who I am.
Who is this
Who's
guy?
the mystery man on the channel right now?
I'm just the intern.
Mystery man, tell us who you are.
I'm an unpaid intern that you guys treat terribly.
Oh, that, yeah.
No, I am the founder of Campfire.
I think you might need to get closer to the mic, Jason. Whenever you want to speak, just lean in.
I'm the founder of Campfire. I started Campfire a little over 2 years ago. I wrote Campfire Pro by myself. Like, I was the only one who ever touched that code base. So, yeah, that's me.
That's Jason. He's the architect.
The architect.
Also, hello, everybody in chat.
Hey,
Thanks.
Matthew, the Meepo man.
1, 2, 3, the Meepo man. I like that. Well, I guess we'll wait just a second, and then we'll kind of dig in as we get a couple more people. Give time for people to see the tweets. How's everyone doing this afternoon? Let's get some ideas in the chat, because I'm curious, like, what we want to do story-wise as we move through the night. Their initials. Okay. The live stream will not showcase upcoming features, unfortunately, because upcoming features still need to be worked on. They're not.
They're not ready yet, but they're getting there.
Yeah, we would hate to have an upcoming feature and then.
Yeah. Well, we
Then
have
look like fools.
relationships coming soon. It won't be like it's not ready for us to use on the stream, but relationships module should be out like this week for beta testers.
Nice.
Start playing it. Yeah.
And also let us know if the audio is too low or anything. Like, we're doing our best in here.
I'm gonna forget every time to like come get cozy with Jackson.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to keep harassing you. All right. I guess we should probably address some questions up here at the top. Do you want to pull open the? Oh man, I just had it open. What happened?
You're falling apart.
We have some questions prepared. All right. Do you have the questions, Jason, or do you just want me to ask you some?
I don't have them, so you can.
When is the novel writer going to be available? From Random Writes in chat. That is going to be a November 1st release.
That will be in November.
And
1st.
I am very excited for that.
Yeah,
I think we're all.
excited too.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Because that was like the #1 thing that people requested for Campfire Pro over and over, and that was like we just couldn't put it in Pro, and that was one of the big reasons why we ended up having to make Blaze, was because we wanted to get the novel writer in there.
Yeah, and we'll have it in time for November 1st. It won't be like it'll be missing a couple things. Like, for example, I have to lean in. And
Yeah,
somebody just said.
Someone just said you need to lean in.
Somebody just said as long as the intern leaves. leans in.
That's always
Yeah, just in time for Nano. I'm actually going to be writing my Nano in Campfire Blaze,
Oh, good
so
luck.
I'll be right there with your Random Writes.
And Random Writes, just so you know, go to www.campfiretechnology/contest.
You forgot the .com.
Well, the .com, whatever.
/contest.
.com/contest. You know how to internet, but go check that contest out in case you hadn't, because
I don't think we've done like an announcement on the YouTube channel about that, where it's going to be in the video that's coming up on Monday.
So you're gonna tell them how much you could win in the contest?
They could win. Do it. Do the pitch, Jackson.
up
Do
to
it at the top.
$3,000 of support. So basically, what's gonna happen is if you write your story for NaNoWriMo in Campfire Blaze, we'll have a way for you to submit it. You'll submit your story before December 15th. It doesn't have to be edited. It just has to be a cohesive, finished story. And you're going to submit that to us. We're going to go through. We're going to pick one lucky person, and we will basically foot the bill for up to $3,000 in editing fees, your illustrations, ISBN codes, all that good stuff. So if you're going to do NaNoWriMo and you like Campfire, then absolutely you'll want to go that route.
All right, Chantal in chat. I'm gonna butcher all these names. Asks, what's the difference between Campfire Pro and Blaze? I think that feels like an intern question.
Yeah, I can take that. So Campfire Pro is the desktop software that I built. Like I started working on 2 years ago. It was the first software I started making at Campfire. And the reason we're moving away from that, and like we're not going to stop supporting it, but we're moving towards Campfire Blaze as its kind of successor. And the reason for that is just that Campfire Pro was written in a certain way as a desktop application, and just the way that it was coded, it made it pretty difficult to like expand on it and really like make the caliber of software that we want to make Campfire Blaze. So Campfire Blaze is a web-based software, so you'll be able to access it from anywhere, anywhere that you can run a web browser on, basically. And so you'll be able to work, on your stories from various devices. And it'll just be a lot more fully featured and easier for us kind of on the development side to expand continuously and add new features. Which that's the important part, is that like we are going to be fully invested in Blaze from now on. So, you know, the version of Blaze that we have on November 1st probably will look nothing like the version of Blaze that'll be here in like a year, because then throughout the course of the entire year, we're going to be building and building and building, like just more on top of it.
Yeah, and we just every day, like I feel like we're sitting here in the office, just like new ideas come in, like, and you guys are suggesting features all the time, and all of those are getting put on the list, you know, like things that we're going to add.
And that's the thing with Blaze, is like with Pro, the foundation wasn't there to be able to like build fast and like build quality on top of what we had. So like I was able to add, you know, like the biggest addition I ever did was like the world building pack, and I was able to do that. But it took a lot more effort than it needed to, because just like the code was not set up in a way that made it easy to just like extend it with more stuff.
Yeah. Matthew also asked, will there be a Campfire Blaze app? And this is a common question that we have, so this is a big one.
We definitely want to make a Campfire Blaze app. The only issue with the app is that there are certain user interfaces that you can use on like on a computer that would be a lot more difficult in mobile. Like for example, like maps or the timeline, when it's like really visual and you have a canvas full of panels. So for that, I mean, we still want to make a mobile application. We just need to find ways to, you know, present mobile interfaces that you can still access your information just in a way that's kind of better suited for that kind of device.
And just by the way, before we move too far away from that question about like the difference between Campfire Pro and Blaze, another big one is we always had people asking about, you know, will this come to other languages? And we couldn't do that with Pro. But with Campfire Blaze, eventually we will be able to put in all kinds of different other languages, and that's something we're really excited about.
Worldwide. Campfire
worldwide.
Around the world. Levi, can you put a background that just changes different places in the world?
So we have a question. Will people who bought Campfire Pro get a discount or something, something of the sort for Campfire Blaze? And that's yes, they will. And Jackson knows the details. I do not know what the details of that are.
Yes, so people who bought Campfire Pro are going to get, what was it 2 months free?
I believe it was 3.
3 months. 3 months free of Campfire Blaze, all the features, everything. And then also, and this isn't something we've announced yet because we've kind of been going back and forth about it, so this is hot off the press. We're doing a kind of like a staggered system, because we wanted to reward the people who bought back in 2018 when, you know, it definitely wasn't as good as it is now. And so for everybody who kind of stuck with us, you know, while we were, you know, this brand new writing software out there. So in case you don't know, the way that Blaze works with the pricing is in Campfire Pro, you pay one-time fee and you get everything, all the features. In Campfire Blaze, you get to select what you want. So, you know, sometimes we'd have people say, you know, I don't think this certain feature is that useful to me. With Campfire Blaze, you don't have to pay for it. So you can pay either monthly or lifetime. So for people who own Campfire Pro, if you bought it back in 2018, you're going to get 3 modules for free lifetime. People bought in 2019 are going to get 2 modules for free lifetime, your choice. And then people who bought this year get 1 module for free lifetime. So even if, you know, you just wanted like the Manuscript editor, you'll still be able to get that, and you can still, you know, work it with Pro. And then of course Campfire Blaze has a limited free version, so you're still going to get some of the features of everything, even if you don't, even if the entire suite's not useful to you.
To clarify, yeah, the free version, we're basically building every module so that there's like a free tier of it. For example, like in the characters module, you'd get like 10 free characters that you could create that many characters, and then if you try to create more than that, it'll say you've reached your limit and you have to, you know, pay for a subscription to this module if you want to like go further with it. And we hope that'll be enough, especially with modules that are a little bit more, like for example, like the languages module that maybe some writers will only need to use like once for one language that they really care about. You can just do that for free, and then people who really want to like build multiple languages and like get into it would be the ones who'd want to subscribe to that module.
MC in chat asked if the contest is going to be worldwide because they write in French, and unfortunately no, because we only, well, actually Jason is bilingual, but we will be reading the applications, and I can't read French. I can only read English, unfortunately.
I also cannot read French.
So yeah, since we're going to be the ones doing the contest, we will not be doing it and you can see all of the details on the
contest
page. I put a link in the chat if you want to check it out. I had suggested this in the Discord from Sky Clashes, but will there be more customization to panels such as drop downs, color squares, and text box outlines as we've seen in the basic info panel? Jason, I think that's kind of a you question.
Yeah. So the basic info panel that's there, the way that it's set up, the way it is, the way that the reason that you only have one of those panels per entry and you can't make multiple of them, is because we want Blaze to actually be able to understand what the information in that panel represents. And what that means is basically with the current setup in Blaze, apart from that panel, you can make text panels, you can make stats panels, all that stuff. But Blaze has no idea. If you make a list panel and you call it personality traits and you start dumping some information in there, Blaze doesn't actually know that those are personality traits because it's arbitrary. You could have put whatever you wanted in there. With the basic info panel, it's we are setting up attributes for you to choose from that Blaze can actually know what they are. And that just gives us a lot of more flexibility to add cooler features, just because Blaze will have a better understanding of what you're working on. Now, as far as adding similar inputs at the basic info panel has, the color input and a slider and stuff like that, and making a new type of panel that has those too, I think that's reasonable, and it's something that we could definitely do. It's not something that we're able to work on just yet, but it's certainly a possibility.
For those, MPO Man asks, will those limits be per project or for your account overall for the free?
Those will be for your account overall.
Yeah.
And Easton, you're not going to be totally stuck. If you decide to switch over to Campfire Blaze.
Let's read the question out loud. So someone asked, they use Campfire Pro for world building. They say it's great software, but they're not a fan of web-based software. And good news, because down the line we definitely plan on having an offline version of Campfire Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had an earlier comment where they said, so in short, if you bought Campfire Pro, you're going to be stuck. So I wanted to clarify, and you're not going to be totally stuck. If you switch over to Blaze, then you're just going to be able to convert your profile to Blaze, and it'll just be totally populated. You don't have to put everything back in again.
Random Rights asks, will Blaze users be able to upload files from Pro into Blaze before November as well? Most of my current project is in Pro.
Not before November. We're working really hard to have that import functionality in by November 1st. And the reason we couldn't have done it sooner is just that we don't have some of the modules yet. So we don't have the relationships module yet, and so we can't convert things to a module that doesn't exist. So that has to basically be the last thing once we finally have all the features that Pro has. So we're aiming to have that by November 1st.
Cool deal. If any of you who are watching the stream have any questions, make sure you leave a question in chat. We solicited some questions before the stream, and I guess we'll answer a couple of those as we go through the chat. Someone asked, what our sleep schedules look like?
A nightmare. I don't think there's a single person here who works less than a 40-hour.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But I'm very religious about my sleep schedule. I go to bed at 10 p.m. I'm asleep by 10:30. Wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I feel like I've cut out the other stuff. Sleep's got to stay.
Yeah,
I get my 8 hours.
I'm the same way. I feel like I definitely work on Campfire a lot, but I try not to do it at the expense of sleep. I try to do it at the expense of other things like watching Netflix.
So we have a question in chat. Is there a pricing list for Blaze? I think there was a pricing list, but it's no longer on the website. Yeah, we do have a pricing list, I believe.
It's not on the website page for Blaze right now, which it probably should be. It's still on the Kickstarter campaign page. The pricing that we intend to use. I don't remember. It was kind of like a little snafu that it ended up not being on the main page, but you can find it on Kickstarter. If you just search for the Blaze Kickstarter campaign, you'll find it there.
Okay, cool deal. When is the official release of Blaze and how many modules it will have? It'll be November 1st.
How many modules?
How many? However many that Jason can list aloud right now.
A bunch.
In the meantime, I'll answer another question. How do I manage to not let the existential dread set in?
You embrace it.
You embrace it.
You embrace it.
I like to read in the afternoons. I think that I find that helps me not let the existential dread. MPO Man says it's pinned in Discord in the Blaze channel. If you're looking for the Blaze pricing.
Oh.
I hope that.
And I can read off the list of modules if we're interested in here and then. There's a lot. Characters, timeline, novel writer, which is now called Manuscript, locations, maps, relationships, arcs, encyclopedia, items, languages, magic, and then species, cultures, philosophies, and religions.
Nice. So a lot. We will have a lot going up. Any more questions? Off-topic question, but favorite programming languages to work with, if any? I took a C++ class in high school, so that is by default my favorite language. Jason, what about you?
I mean, Blaze is, it's a web application, so it runs on JavaScript, HTML, CSS with React. We use React, and I like programming that a lot. It's really easy to produce like good code when you use React. So yeah, I would say that's my favorite.
I'm programming illiterate.
Easton, yeah, it used to be on the website. I guess it got taken down at some point. You guys have any quickie nano tips for a newbie?
Write every day.
Write every day, and also go in with a plan. We actually have a video going up on Monday that's about this. But literally just knowing when you're going to write before you go into it. Because like if you're going to write 50,000 words in a month, you can't just like write when the inspiration strikes, Like you have to have a certain plan to going into it. Random Right said, go hard as soon as you can. Yeah, I think getting ahead, that's going to be my strategy, I think. I think I'm going to try and front load the month a little bit.
Especially if you're in America, you're not going to sit down and write after you eat all that turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so definitely, and you be ready to have rest days, maybe plan out your word. I took NaNoWriMo has a quiz you can take on their website that will produce a plan for you based on your personality. I didn't agree with my result, but it was fun. You guys can go check out the Nano website.
Wait, so Jackson, do you agree with what Levi said, that you need to have a plan in order to successfully execute NaNoWriMo? Because that seems like it's not something you'd agree with.
So I'm the pantser in the office, I guess. When I want to write, like, I have a direction that I'm going in, but I don't have a plan by any means. I know the characters, because I think that's the most important part of your story. I know the characters, and I know the general direction that I'm going in. So if anything, I'd say definitely have your characters nailed down and know what story you want to tell. But for me, at least, I don't need a timeline or sacrilege. Oh my God.
Says sacrilege. Yes.
Pantsers exist. Okay?
Jackson is
We're
the
here.
office heretic. Someone asked, so Jason, this sounds like a question for you. So since you won't be supporting Pro, you wouldn't mind us geekheads tinkering with that JavaScript, I assume, right?
Yeah, that's a hard maybe. Definitely not anytime soon, but maybe at some point, maybe. I'm so embarrassed of the code in Campfire Pro because it's so poorly written that I just don't want to make that public because it just makes me look bad. And also, yeah, I don't know. It's possible. You'll have to work on it.
We've learned a lot. We've come a long way.
And Ryder, yes, my shirt is green screened. I did not make the correct decision when I dressed myself this morning.
It's Daniel Green in the ocean.
Yeah, it's Daniel Green. It's our good pal Daniel Green taking a long walk on the beach.
Oh, there he goes.
That's what's happening. My biggest struggle with Campfire Pro is the boxing, sizing, dragging. I can never make them look as clean as I want as the initial templates. They end up overlapping and staggering. Is that a function different in Blaze?
So Blaze, I think, just makes it a lot easier to have grid snapping enabled. And when grid snapping is enabled, then you don't have to fiddle with them quite as much because as you drag, it'll like snap to very specific.
Yeah, Campfire Pro does have grid snapping though. Shantai.
It can be a little bit finickier. Though.
Yeah, but I mean, I would at least try with the grid snapping in Campfire Pro.
Definitely.
All right, I guess. Put those questions in chat. We were going to play with Campfire Blaze, but we're getting enough questions. If you guys want us to play with Campfire Blaze, let us know. We were just going to go and make up a story on the spot. But we also have more questions we can get to. When will the writing section? How does one write in first person without sounding like someone spewing their thoughts on paper without filters? Jackson, you like writing in first person, don't you?
I really like writing in first person. It's easier for me to like have like a concrete idea of the character and a stronger hold on the narrative. I feel, for me at least, when I'm writing first person, to keep from spewing everything, I kind of focus on the action first, for like what is actually happening, and then kind of the way the character reacts to it. That way, it's not just a constant stream of consciousness, because and it is tricky when you first start writing first person, because you have to figure out how to not do I went down the stairs and then I went to here, I did this, I did that. The transitions between scenes is what's challenging.
Yeah, they say the hardest thing in writing is getting one a character to go from one room to the next. So
absolutely.
yeah, I don't really have much experience with first person. I'm more of a third person guy. I'm actually going to be trying out some first person for NaNoWriMo, so we'll see how that goes.
Levi, you got a question in there that you
so.
should answer.
We have a question before that we get there. Any experience with hiring artists for concept art for your story? Where can you find these mystical creatures? I don't have any direct advice on that. I don't know. I have friends who are artists who like I've reached out to commission stuff before. Nothing with like around my story, but I mean, you can probably check your local community. There's always artists around you. I wonder if there's any online resources for that. That'd be cool to check into. I'll look into that. Matthew asks, you came up with a name for the Italians
Tell
yet?
us, Levi. I'm
So,
interested
well,
myself.
there's people need context if they don't watch the podcast.
Sure.
On my, I'm making a story on our podcast right now, and I made a placeholder name for like a fantasy race in my story, and I just called them the Italians because I couldn't think of a better name at the time. And now I have like this decision paralysis because there's so much pressure for me to pick a
And
name.
everyone wants to know.
And we'll get there. I feel like maybe that's now I want to hold it back out of spite.
Do you remember the part where you said you'd delete the podcast?
I said I would delete the YouTube channel if I didn't have it, but
by
we
like
go.
2 episodes ago.
There we go. Raphael asked, they were a little bit late. They missed it. Yeah, we're going to work on Blaze being an app and beyond being simply browser-based. I think some of the goals are have it to be in an app form eventually and also have an offline version. So that's yes to that.
The offline version will take precedence over the app. So we're going to build the desktop version before we move on to the mobile.
So can you share, Joseph Noble asked, can you share Blaze pages with other people? And yes, that is true. That's a big part of Blaze is that there's going to be collaborative abilities. I don't know if there's, Jason, like, is there any details you want to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's already something you can do in Blaze now if you're in the beta. If you have the email address of someone who has a Blaze account, you can just go to your like character or whatever it is, or the entire project if you want to share the entire project. And just look for the little like options icon or settings or whatever and look for sharing. Hit sharing and then it'll ask you to just put in the email of who you want to share it to. And then they receive an invite and they can just go and accept the invite and have access to it.
We had someone in chat who said that they are an artist, and they say search ArtStation for super serious artists. Also search artists and art-related hashtags on Instagram and Twitter. Most artists have commission info in their social bios. So there you go. Go find people on the internet and pay them. Pay them to make your art.
Also, I saw Liv in the chat, but she's
gone
now.
Oh God, yeah, I meant to
Hi,
say.
Liv.
I might to say. Hey,
I don't know
Liv,
if you're
sorry.
still here, but hi, Liv.
Oh man. So will Campfire Pro and Blaze become an iOS apps? I don't think Campfire Pro will ever be an iOS app one day, but I think it is. Campfire Blaze is definitely meant to be an app eventually. Any other questions in there? Easton, thanks for your kind words, saying that Pro is a lifesaver. We always love to hear that. Not Pro. Yes. What? I'm confused by chat now.
He's talking about the iOS app.
Oh, okay, cool. Answering questions in chat. We love to see it. All right, is there any questions in chat that we've missed so far?
No, I think.
Writer asked, can we suggest stuff for the story? If we get to making something in Blaze, you can definitely. Glad to see your mic. Got the mic. Thank you, Sharon.
It was a whole company affair.
Yeah, I had to. For those who know, I was supposed to be on the worldbuilding magazine podcast earlier, and everything went wrong. Everything went completely wrong. I had to uninstall everything on my computer. Not really, but I got my mic running.
Turns out it helps a lot if it's plugged in.
Little bit of a delay. Is there something wrong with the audio?
Maybe they just mean between the chat.
Yeah, that'll happen. All right, well, let's get into more questions that we have here. Is there a way to plot points in the map feature on Campfire? Can you draw a line to show the way that characters travel? We were actually talking about this just before the live stream started. I think that's not something that we've explored yet, but it seems like a really fun feature. And Jason was talking about how it wouldn't be that difficult to pull off.
Tell me about the icons.
Well, just the way that it's built, assuming that you, for example, like when you create an event on the timeline, if you tag the character, like if you link in with the links pane all the characters that are in it, and then you also link in the location that it takes place, then Campfire Blaze already knows where all of your characters are at any given point in time. So it'd be pretty straightforward to add something to the map where you could just play through time and see how everything moves over the map. It's not something we'll have ready for launch because we're just building out the core of all the modules. But it's definitely something we can do, and I want to do it. It was one of the, in fact, like that whole idea was one of the first things that when I was like initially designing like Campfire Pro and thinking about like the software, I was like, it would be so cool if you could just like see where everything is at anywhere in time.
Yeah,
like,
I love when I'm reading like a fantasy story and I can look up, because like I know the Lord of the Rings does this, where you can literally track the characters and where they are in Middle Earth by like where you're at in the story. And that I read Lord of the Rings over the winter again, and that's what I did. I was constantly following them on the map so I could know where they were. It was a lot of fun.
But you can currently plot points on the map as well. And what's really awesome about Blaze is we have like these icons that you can choose from. So in Campfire Pro, one thing a lot of people wanted was icons, you know, like a little castle or a home, you know, something to designate what the place was. And we couldn't do it in Pro, but in Blaze, we've got a whole bunch of icons to choose from. You can literally search castle, and you'll find like 10 different castles.
That's for the location pins on the map you're talking about.
Yeah. I have a pro question. Is there any way to not have the panels move around once I close the file or change to another document? That seems like a Jason question. I don't know if that might just be a bug. You might just want to submit a support ticket for that.
Yeah, it sounds like something that would be a bug to not have the panels move around once I close the file or change to another document. So like if you like move some panels around and then you save and quit and then you reopen it and like the panels are in a different place.
Yeah, submit a help ticket for that. I think that's something that we can handle. Hello, Adam Bassett, the editor-in-chief of World Building Magazine, and also our UX UI designer.
Yep.
That's his title.
I know him.
Yeah,
I know him. I know that guy.
I know that guy.
It's nice to see you, Adam. Where is Gilmo? That is a good question, Bridget. Gilmo
He's
is
at
not
home.
here.
He's at home.
Gilmo is
That's my
Jackson's
dog.
Hey, been using Pro World Building for a week, and now it's a big improvement over from using Google Docs. But I'm wondering what makes Blaze different from Pro. I assume we'll get this question a couple of times. We should just written out.
It's collaborative. It's collaborative. We're gonna have more features. We're gonna keep building it, and we're gonna have cooler features than Pro has because we're just limited in terms of the way that Pro was coded. Blaze has a manuscript editor, or like word processor, which is something that like the number one thing that people always requested from Pro. So long story short, Blaze is just going to be better in every way from Pro in the future, and except for I guess the fact if you like the fact that Pro is a downloadable desktop application.
But Blaze will be that too.
Yeah,
eventually. Yeah,
we'll get there.
Yeah. Hopefully by the end of this year, we'll see.
All right, I'm going to look at a question that we had submitted ahead of time. Someone asked, will Campfire Blaze eventually support spell checking in other languages beside English? Also, a side note, how much is spell check a priority for the Blaze team? We are definitely looking into getting Blaze into other languages. I know that's a big benefit of Blaze over Campfire Pro. Jason, I have no clue about spell check.
The spell check should already be working in there. I don't think it's like the world's greatest spell check. We have like I think the bare minimum spell check so far. We definitely plan to improve that because we know how important that is to like have an effective spell check system. What we might do is integrate with our friends at Pro Writing Aid because they have a very good like spell checker and tool there. So we might try to set up some kind of integration with them.
Yeah. What can we expect from the novel writer? Is it going to be like a Pro Writing Aid or something along those? Well, I mean, kind of. That'd be a good idea.
So the novel writer, what makes our novel writer different from, or I should call it the manuscript module because we decided to rename it. Just we think it sounds a little bit better. But what's going to make our manuscript module better than what's out there is that it will be fully integrated with the other tools that you have in Campfire Blaze. And so as you're writing, you could be writing your chapter, and you can link the events from the timeline to the chapter that you're writing. So you could say that, who's making fun of me?
No, I'm making fun of you.
Easton told us to look at the camera.
We
keep looking at the chat. and Jackson and I both saw it at the same time.
Anyways, so you're writing a chapter, and you tell Blaze, this event that I made in the timeline is the chapter that I'm writing. And then what Blaze will do, because it has all that information that you've already filled into Blaze, is it can show you in a helpful panel on the side the description for the event that you've tagged, the list of the characters that are in the event that you tagged, and then you can click those characters in that sidebar, and it'll show you their information. So you'll basically be able to browse through all the bits and pieces of information in your Blaze project, all from within the manuscript module, like as you're writing. And so we're really trying to make it so that you as the writer, you never have to be like stop. You never have to stop writing to go find some piece of information so that you can come back and keep writing. It'll just be there for you. So writing is like as seamless as possible.
Man, I was trying to look up one of the like screenshot for novel writer.
Oh, it should be in the chat there somewhere. Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, it sounds like Adam's in the chat.
Adam, if you're in the chat, send me a link to the UX or whatever the file is for the novel writer. We can show it off on stream. Please, Adam.
If you're here.
Please, Adam.
Please, Adam, be there.
Any other more questions?
Telepathy. Don't worry, I'm calling him.
All right, let us know any questions you guys have in the chat. Right now, we will look over at one of our prepared questions that's people submitted via our Google form. Someone asked, how do you write a good character? The key to writing a good character is wants and needs. And also, I have a YouTube video all about this.
Yeah, that's a thing.
No, I mean, writing a good character, there's so much that goes into it. I thought it was funny because it's
just make them people is like the most important thing. Like people have wants and needs. People have flaws. Yeah.
Flaws. And I think one of the biggest thing, and this is like something that we've talked about on the podcast a bit, is like having those like before you start writing, or writing can get there, but having those people be alive in your head.
I think just think about them in your daily life
constantly.
Like, just think like, oh, like what are they doing right now? Like what would they be doing if they were in this situation that I'm in right now? How would they react? Which is a little trickier to do when you're writing epic fantasy, but you can put them in a similar situation. I think if you think about them like people and they live in your head like people do, then it sounds crazy, but they'll talk to you, and they're like actual people and characters, and they're so easy.
No, that's
to write.
totally true. That's totally true. Easton has a question. I assume everyone that works on Campfire is a writer of some kind. What's your genre of choice to write? I like sci-fi fantasy. It's kind of like kind of basic for the company brand, but
I like fantasy. Not even so much sci-fi. I'm like very fantasy. I'm a fantasy guy.
Jackson, you're
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, you're kind of
I really like writing like contemporary YA humor. Like just teenagers just run around doing teenage stuff is a lot of fun. But because when I love to read fantasy, but when I write fantasy, it's too heavy-handed, and I don't think it comes out very good. But I'm kind of trying my hand at a little bit more realistic.
We're still talking to the chat. We got to talk to the camera.
I know. I just realized I'm still working on the story that I'm working on right now on the podcast, which you should check out. It's on this channel. I'm trying to write a kind of like a urban fantasy ideological myth. It's weird. Go check out the podcast.
How do you balance description versus action? That is such a complex question that it's hard to answer right here. That's definitely probably going to be a video topic at some point. But when it comes to balancing things in your writing, I don't think there's like a go-to way to do that. Like that's only something that you can learn by practicing and also by revision, like
reading a lot,
read a lot.
Because when you read people that do it well, your brain just absorbs it, and it knows the just like the pacings and like the ways to do it that like work.
And I think reading critically is a big part of that. Is like when you notice that something reads fluidly, sit there and ask yourself, what's going on here? Let me look at like where they're having action, where they're having description, and what all is going on. Because I mean, obviously, I think description has a bad rap, especially in epic fantasy, for being too long and boring sometimes. But also, action can be as well.
Oh, action can be super boring.
Yeah, I mean, so I definitely think it's hard to answer that. Got to set up a teleprompter. But you are right, MPO, man.
But read not only people who do it well, read people who do it poorly, because you'll recognize that. You'll recognize what makes it poorly, and you're not going to do it.
Adam, if you can just send us a screenshot, that's fine. Adam's in chat. We're trying to get the manuscript writer up here. Gotta set up a teleprompter. Yes. Fine thing. Red says, well, Jaren in the chat, but their name is Red. Find the things you like, and that will fit your style. That's very true. Read constantly, like James Patterson says. When you stop reading, that's the death for a writer. Yeah. You got to read more. Like I've been writing more since I've been involved with Campfire. And that half of that's reading more. Like I've been reading so much more. I need you to read your poor balance description versus action. I already do that myself.
Well, then go back and figure out what you did wrong and learn from it. Because, seriously, I've said on the podcast so many times, but my first attempt at writing a novel was like epic fantasy story. I got 100 pages in. I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever been written, and it taught me so much about writing. just writing something like so bad. Honestly, it was, I think, the best thing ever happened to me writing.
All right, we have a question that was a pre-prepared one that I think is a pretty big one. Will Blaze have a function to keep world-building information synced between separate projects for stories within the same universe, or a similar feature for those looking to create stories, sequels, and spin-offs?
Yeah,
and that's something that I know that's something that we've talked a lot about.
It's something that we've talked a lot about and we've worked on this month. It's actually, so Blaze as it currently exists, you can go to your, what we call like the project hub. It's basically just the homepage when you log into Blaze that lists all your projects. And Adam redesigned it this month. And basically if you go there, you can create a new project, and then you can basically expand that project and add sub-projects within it. And for each sub-project, you can kind of set up what you want it to inherit from the parent project. So what you do if you want it to have like a variety of projects set in the same. Oh, do you have it pulled up there?
Yeah, I have pulled up. So I was just showing because like
Perfect, right there.
This is like the different like overall arcing projects, you know.
Oh,
but then you
could
could
stuff too.
Drowning flower.
Yeah, that's some personal stuff. But then like when you hit view links, there's not a. This would be like a preview image for it, like you have down here. But then you could create a new linked project. So that's a project within the larger
so actually
project.
click that for us so you can see what that looks like. So it'll ask you basically what do you want this sub project to inherit from the parent. And so you can make your kind of parent project be like your world with all the locations, all the maps, all the information about the world. And then you could make a sub-project and say, I want to inherit all the locations and the maps, but I don't want to inherit the characters because in this project I only want to focus on the new characters for this specific story.
Or it's a different timeline as well.
Or it's a different timeline, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can choose like what you want to have shared with this parent project and what you don't. And we hope that will be an effective solution for basically keeping things organized and inheriting stuff across projects.
Yeah. So keep those questions coming in. Let's see. I kind of lost track of chat. People are just talking about how important it is to get outside opinions for balancing description versus action question. That's a very good point. Having people read your stuff and give it to you for real.
Yeah. So what do you think about that Stephen King advice of like don't show it until you're ready or whatever? Like don't get feedback until it's at a certain point.
Well, I think there's
it depends.
It depends. Yeah, it does depend because you can get feedback too early. I mean, because like when I zero draft something, it's an absolute mess, and I'm not going to get productive feedback from that. You know, like I wait till I can't do anything more. Like with my video scripts with these guys, they read my video scripts before I record them, and they give me notes on them. But I don't send them my video script on I don't just rough draft it and then send it to them. I send it to them when I don't know what else to do with it. When like for my I can't read it in a different light, so then I send it to them and they give me notes on it. And I do the same thing with writing in general. So I think it's an instinct to know when to send it off.
And you'll figure it out. You'll make mistakes. You'll do it at the wrong time, and you'll realize, oh, I should have done it at a different time.
I'm in the middle of writing a webcomic, and we have added so much detail it would be impossible to write it all in a single story, but I don't want to cut anything. Any advice?
You don't need it all.
You don't need it all.
You don't need it all.
It's going to be impossible to include.
The story is what's important. Like the world building is cool, but it's that people are there for the characters and the story, their mistakes, what goes well for them, what doesn't. It's super cool how the plumbing works in your world. I have no doubt. But like we don't always need to know like every single thing, if that makes sense.
That's awesome.
Astromancer says that synced world building is all I've ever wanted. Yeah, I think that's going to be a really cool feature for I've had ideas that are like anthology things, and I think it'd be so great for organize anything. Easton asks favorite authors. Jason, I know who your favorite author is.
Who's my favorite author, Levi?
It's Patrick Rothfuss.
Yeah, I think it is Patrick. Even though it pains me so much that it's been so long since I've gotten to read another one of his books. I love Patrick Rothfuss. I love Name of the Wind. I love The Wise Man's Fear even more than I like The Name of the Wind. And I am eagerly awaiting the final book in the trilogy.
Yeah. Jackson, do you have an answer?
So I have a lot of different authors that I read, but hands down my favorite one ever is Don Calumet. Probably nobody's ever heard of him. He writes like kind of what I enjoy writing, like teenage kids running around, scatological stories.
What does scatological mean? You've used that word a couple times now. I don't know what does that mean?
Is it a word?
Yeah, it's like
an actual word or
like
a
get close to mic so they can hear what you say.
Like scat, like poop. like stories with like, I guess like a base sense of humor. I tell poop jokes. That's what I'm saying. It's like toilet potty humor.
He really does.
Scatological is like potty humor. So Don Calumet has got like My favorite book by him, it's about these 3 guys, and their goal for the summer is to see a naked girl for the first time in person, and they like go about it in all of these crazy, ridiculous ways, and it does not pan out for them. And
It's kind of like absurdism almost. Like
Yeah.
The stuff, it seems like the stuff that you like to write and read is just like right on that edge of like
Yeah.
serious and like absurd.
Yeah, like or you know, like a sitcom. Like all the sitcoms, a lot of times they're very absurd, but it's like in like an alternate reality where it's like, okay, I buy this for this sitcom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like none of that stuff is stuff that cops would do, but you buy it because it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
For me, I that's such a hard question, and whenever I get asked a question like this, I just give you my most recent favorite. And one of my recent series I read was Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. Liked it a lot. Love Sanderson. I know that's the most basic answer in the world to like Sanderson, but I know Sanderson's fun.
I love Sanderson.
I just started The Wheel of Time though, so let's see if Robert Jordan takes the cake. We have some questions. I was referring to the characters and their arcs, or our world building is kind of trash. We have a main cast of 19 characters that are fully fleshed out with full arcs to boot.
Sounds like you got a couple of stories on your hands.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't fit it all into one. Then don't cram it all into one. Do it really well, and then just keep writing.
I mean, you said you have a webcomic, so you have plenty of time to explore all their stories. But yeah, it is going to be impossible to write in a single story. But I think that's fine. Like TV shows aren't a single story, you know? Like an episode of a TV show has an A plot and a B plot that aren't even necessarily connected.
Yeah, I mean, stories are fractal in the sense that like a story is made up of smaller stories that are made up of smaller stories. Like I'm sure you talked about this a lot in your like screenwriting career, where like there's like a rising action and a climax to the whole story, but also each scene should have a rising action. So stories are kind of embedded within each other.
Yeah.
Somebody asked what our opinions are regarding microfiction stories.
So that means like short stories?
No. Like microfiction, it's like a tweet. Like there's this guy I follow on Twitter. I think it's called like a short fiction or something like that. They're fantastic. Every one of them. I read all of them. Oh, they're awesome.
That's a genre I'll have to get into.
He tells a story in one little tweet, and they're always like good. Like the prose is great, and then there's always like one like little twist that makes you go like, oh, they're great. I love them.
In terms of pre-collected questions, a lot of people have already asked in chat things that we were essentially pre-collected questions. I'll give a run through. Robert Jordan is good. Googly moogly, them books is long. Yes, Easton. Googly moogly are them books long. And also, it's been weird to adjust to Robert Jordan's style. He's got that very hardcore, like oldie style fantasy writing, which I enjoy. It's just I read it very slowly. Let's look through these questions real quick. Is there a way to change the name of your document? I've tried a couple times, but it never works. Well, I don't know what they're talking about. Is that Blaze? Ticker. Is that Pro?
It's probably Blaze they're talking about.
Yeah, if you ever encounter something that feels like a bug, you should email us or go to our Zendesk. I don't know. Thoughts on first-person narratives? How do you write a good character? We've gone through most of these pre-made questions. If you had a pre-made question that you sent to us that we didn't answer, just go ahead and ask it in chat. I actually do the world building for myself as a writer, so I can navigate through the story and make it as authentic as possible. Helps with the structure of foreshadowing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Funda, I think that's important to do your own world building, or at least be incredibly familiar with your world building, because people can work on a team where they build the world together. But I think one of the biggest things with world building is that it always serves the story. Story doesn't serve the world building, so being in tune with it is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, something else is like it's always going to come through. Like if you're building a world and you've got some of these details, like I made the joke about the plumbing, but I mean that's going to come through in your story when they escape through the sewers. You know what I mean?
Go to that mic.
That mic, I wanted that mic.
But that mic's closer to you.
Okay.
Michael in the I just found when Michael in the Discord from Discord. Hi, Michael. You're a great Discord member. Thank you so much for all that you do in our Discord. I'm sure excited to see what the future holds for Blaze. What does the big picture look like for Campfire Blaze? Which is a very vague question.
How
so
big
take it.
Picture, yeah.
Yeah, take it how you want, Jason.
Well, in terms of like, I can give you the next year, 2 years, I guess. And so basically by November 1st, we'll have finally gotten out all of the like features that we have in Campfire Pro. So we're getting that baseline of like, okay, you can finally do everything you used to do in Pro in Blaze, plus the Manuscript module. So that's kind of the baseline. And then for the next at least year after that, it's going to be fixing bugs, because there's still a decent amount of bugs, improving like little quality of life changes to all the modules that currently exist, to just because there's so many little things that you guys have pointed out, like, oh, if this only like was a little bit different, it would be perfect. So things like that. And then for bigger picture stuff, things like the desktop application, maybe the mobile app, if you know, our users tell us that's like a priority and something they really want, then we can start working on that within the next year. And then maybe an extra module or two, again, depending on like how badly people say they want it. But basically, it's just going to be like, we've laid the foundation, and now it's just like improving it, because it still needs, like, there's still so much that could be better about Campfire Blaze.
Yeah, big picture, we want to be the best writing software in the world. So tell us what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Michael, I had no clue that you were the MPO man. Nice. You've been here since the beginning. Appreciate it. We actually did get a question on the YouTube channel that was for the live stream. Someone asked, what are your thoughts on the amount of side characters in a book? I am writing a kind of fellowship story that grows as it goes through a series. How much is too much, or is it all about pacing? You guys want to tackle that one? I have opinions.
You read your opinion.
My only opinion is that it's like one of those things, like with the balancing dialogue and action, it's like, it's hard to give an answer without reading it, and it's hard to like give you a guide, because there's so many different small things that affect it. Like, obviously having 40 characters is probably too many, because we're not going to be able to explore all of their like character arcs and stuff, but having like a couple characters that have big arcs, and then characters can have smaller arcs and be involved in other characters' arcs. So it's like, it's hard to give an answer on that, but it's...
I think a big part of it depends on how long your story is, because I mean, in Way of Kings, or Stormlight Archive, it's like, man, I mean, I don't even know how many characters he has, but I know them all. You know, I can keep track of them all. There's so many side characters, but those books, you could kill a man if you hit him in the head with it. You know, so if your book is longer, then you could definitely have more side characters. But I think you'd be hard pressed to have meaningful side characters in a 50-page novella.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I think that you know what you were saying with micro stories, what are they called? You could have like a character with an arc and only do it in 5 total sentences in your book.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a matter of like, for every side character, I feel like it's easy to fall into the trap of like, you're focused on your protagonist and what the next plot point is that they have to hit as you're writing.
Yeah.
That all the side characters are just placeholders. They're not real people. They're just like placeholders that are serving to get your protagonist wherever you're trying to send him or her. And so you can take those same side characters that would be there anywhere, you know, like the innkeeper who happens to be in the inn that your protagonist is going through or whatever, and give them a vibrant kind of backstory and some kind of story arc within the scene that they're in. And you can do that in a small amount of sentences. Like, you don't have to give much.
That's true.
much
That's
to
very
And
true.
they should have that too, because I mean, side characters, like you said, they're not props. Like, they're not static. They're gonna change as the story goes, because they have lives too, not just while main character runs around chopping bushes and breaking pots.
And I love the feeling of like reading a book where every scene that you're reading, it's like it feels like all of these other people that you don't get to actually look into that much all have these crazy vibrant lives outside of the book. It makes you want to go back and read more in that world.
Yeah, I like that just reminded me of how Adventure Time is. I don't think either of you have watched Adventure Time, but I know that they'll every once in a while they'll just have like a single episode that just focuses on a character that you've seen like a handful of times, but it'll like be this really emotional journey. Like, there was one where there's a worm that lives in Jake's viola, and there's an entire episode where he's a worm and part of him gets chopped off and it becomes his little brother, and there's like an entire arc about it, and it's so dramatic and it's so good, and it's just like stuff like that where you can have those little vignettes in your story. I actually love vignette style writing. There's a lot of good of it out there. Jackson, did you have any more feelings on that question?
No, I'm good.
Easton asked, what kind of camera do I use to shoot my videos? At first, it was a T6i, and now it is a 90D. It's also what we're streaming on right now. It's very haphazard, but that's how it goes. Adam, did Adam send me the thing? Oh, no, I didn't see when he posted this in chat.
We have it,
I'm
though.
sure everyone's interested in how it looks.
Yeah. So let's just full screen that. All right, we're going to take a look at the Blaze manuscript.
It looks great.
Yeah, check that out.
So the idea is you have your manuscript like right there in the middle, and like that is where you can focus on, is like that's like your book or whatever you're writing. On the left is a sidebar. So can you scroll through? There's other screenshots as well, I believe, Levi, that he has there.
Boy. We sure can.
Find one with the sidebar that shows the navigation if there is one. Oh, there's not one there. Basically, the sidebar would have a little navigation area, just like in the other modules with like the folder structure. And basically, that would contain each section, so like each chapter of the manuscript. So you could reorder and like jump between the different sections through the like via that sidebar. And then on the right there, you have a notepad at the bottom, and at the top you have this like special panel, which is for navigating through all the information that you have in Blaze. So what that has right there, it looks like it has a character selected in that panel. So it shows you the list of all the panels that you made for that character. And if you click on any of them, it'll take whatever that panel is and just display it right there for you. And then if it displayed that information, you could then go and like key through the different panels that the character has and see the information. Any links that you've added will be clickable from in that panel. But instead of like navigating your entire window to that thing, it'll just show that thing in that panel. So you can just browse between all the different links and all the different stuff going on in your story right alongside as you write.
Yeah, so it looks really cool. I'm like I said earlier, I'm very excited to start writing this. Brahm, I CH Brahm in chat. Yes, I am wearing a Daniel Green shirt.
TG.
I just got this in the mail the other day. I was very excited to wear it.
Where's yours? Don't you have one too?
No. Spoilers.
Oh.
Spoilers.
Cut.
But yeah,
Cut the video.
Brahm, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was making the joke that this is Daniel Green taking a walk on the beach. So that's where we go. I'm not even gonna make an attempt at this name. I'm just gonna call you M. So the hero's journey story template is popular. What other templates seem to work well?
You love the story circle, right? Which is kind of hero's journey based.
Yeah. I don't know if you meant like templates for.
Oh, templates for the software.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I like the simplified versions of the hero's journey. If we're talking about like actual like plot structures, like Dan Harmon's story circle I like a lot because it's kind of vague but in a way that feels a little bit more freeing, because like the original Joseph Campbell hero's journey is so convoluted. It has so many steps and it's really interesting to learn about, but I don't know how useful it is.
I mean, I think of when I hear people talk about hero's journey, a lot of the time they act as if the hero's journey was written as like this guide you're supposed to follow to write a story, and it wasn't that. It was an analysis of existing stories that already had been written. And so he wasn't trying to say like these are the steps you need to have a good story. He was trying to say I looked at all of these stories and they all seem to have these steps. So he like went it's the other direction.
Yeah. Hey Lindsay. Nice. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. For the Campbell thing, because like. I blame George Lucas for this because he's the one kind of popularized using it as like a plot structure, but I think it's fine. Like it's Red in chat says, as an editor, Hero's Journey is a reference guide, not a Bible. I think that's true. Yeah. I think that's fine. But also I think it's really good for getting a good third act, because usually every time I watch a movie that has a really bad third act, I'm like, they really abandoned, because like the hero's journey for that last act, and it did not actually work out well. Yeah. So Lindsay in chat asks, I've been really excited to play with Blaze, but I've heard a lot about the bug that deletes words or blocks. That's something that we've been working on. Jason, do you know anything about that? Any kind of news? It's
just like this weird issue with there can be like this stutter whereas you're typing something. Like the last couple of characters that you type occasionally will like stutter back. And what we've been able to see is it doesn't happen across. It doesn't seem to be any particular browser. It seems to be just certain internet connections it happens, and certain ones it doesn't.
But just like really high ping.
Yeah, we're looking into it, and we plan to have it fixed for November. It's going to be the next thing I focus on. As soon as I deploy relationships to the beta, the next thing I'll work on is fixing that problem, because it is a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah, Lindsay, I would try it on your internet. If it doesn't sound like it's happened to you, like you've only heard about the bug, because it doesn't happen for me at all. Like whenever I use Blaze, it's never happened to me. So you might be able to do it. So I would give it check it out.
Try it out. It's free.
Yeah, it's free. free open beta. So Easton asked, what I do for characters, give them key elements from the Myers-Briggs personality test and tweak them as I go. Yeah, it'll cover one more right, but that's kind of a cool idea. I like that. Just like a way to kind of like mix up the characters and put them together.
That could be interesting as a way to like, as like a character generator. Like it just generates the random personality profile based on Myers-Briggs.
It's kind of like a D&D thing, because I know like for a lot of D&D stuff, like whenever I start an encounter with my dungeon master, he just throws a bunch of dice on the table and he draws circles around them, and that's like trees. So it's kind of like something like that. Like maybe you can just like roll dice and like make a character.
That's cool.
That is cool. I like that.
You have Wildfire, Lindsay? That's awesome.
You're good to go then. You're good to go then.
It's free for now on.
Thank you very much for your
It's free
support.
forever for you.
I don't know if that's exactly what free is. But all right, if anyone has questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, oh my goodness, I'm having such a hard time. If not, we might start. Does anyone have ideas for stories in Campfire Blaze?
I feel like we should ask people if they'd rather us do. I should speak closer to the mic. If they would rather us write a story in Blaze, or if they'd rather us talk more about like the future of Blaze, and maybe ask people in the chat like what kind of stuff would you like us to add, or even priority wise, like would you rather us do the mobile app first, or would you rather us do the desktop app, for example?
Yeah, because we don't have a ton of time left to build a story. So yeah, you're probably right. We should maybe do that another time. I really want to do some streams where we build stories in Campfire Blaze. I think that'll be a lot of fun, but maybe we will hold off on that for now.
Are you all into writing and programming? Yes.
I'm not into programming.
Well, I'm not into programming.
I was into programming in high school, but not.
It's actually kind of interesting because our team right now is not primarily developers. It's
no.
Right now it's me and Bryce as the developers, and then we have a bunch of marketing and content folks like Levi and Jackson.
We're pretty much all of us are writers because we're writing stories are really important to us, so we want our team to really enjoy stories and everything. So pretty much everybody is a writer.
I went to school for journalism and cinema, so that's my background specifically, and I worked in news for a while.
I minored in creative writing in college.
Yeah, so
I was gonna minor in film production until taking those extra classes was impeding my ability to build Campfire effectively, so I dropped the film.
Jason wanted to be a writer, and then he decided to make Campfire.
And no, I actually haven't written probably since last fall.
All right, this is a long question coming from the chat. It seems like to be the thing where things are kind of disappearing unexpectedly.
Oh, and in terms of like crashes and stuff, there's just still some bugs that will just change the data structure of whatever you're working on in a way that it just will make it like not openable in Blaze. And that's something that we can fix just if you like submit a ticket and just let us know what the character name or whatever it is that's not working. And then in terms of like preventing the problem in the future, that's something that me and Bryce are gonna be working on also this month, is like looking into just like making sure that things like that don't happen.
Carl asks, Campfire Publish Incorporated when?
Raffo.
Read and find out.
Just be patient.
Well, that's actually that's what I was saying in terms of things that we could do, except like instead of writing a story together, is talk about more potential like where do we want to steer this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. So for you guys who are watching and who are in chat, I guess some things we want to know is, what do you want from Blaze? Tell us what you want from Blaze. And also, Campfire Publishing is something that we've talked about in-house. So I don't know what that would look like.
And
so
neither do I really. I mean, we have the flexibility we can like try to do whatever we want, right? And so it's like, what would be the coolest thing that we could try to do? I think if it came to publishing, in order to kind of be unique in the space, I think we'd have to have that heavily linked with like your Campfire Blaze work. Like imagine if you build your work in Campfire Blaze and there's an easy way to like publish it to an ebook, like make a anthology of your whole world based on all the information that you put into Blaze, and like have that ready for publishing. So like tying the technology with it, I think would be key if we wanted to do it well.
Really quick, Raphael asked, "What's Wildfire?" It's just a
there's a Kickstarter reward tier.
So no worries, you're not missing anything huge, and it's no longer available.
Easton asked, so would you put yourself in competition with Scrivener? I would say we're
with Campfire Blaze. Yeah, we absolutely will be.
Yeah, with our writing. Scroll up for my question. People are just talking to chat to each other. That's great.
Sweet.
Nice. We did it.
Like to see.
Well, what do you boys want to do?
Well, in terms of, I mean, if we want to talk about more future stuff, I really want to know what people want. Like, what would people like for us to do or like build that we haven't yet done or built?
Yeah.
Like outside of just the writing software, like is publishing something that's interesting? Is, I don't know, like tools for graphic novelists, for example, just like anything random that you've thought of that like, man, it'd be cool if somebody did this.
I know one thing we Easton said, uh-oh. I know one big thing we've talked about. We're fine with Scrivener. We're cool. Is there any kind of standardization in the movie industry? Nice. It would be an opportunity to try and get into this niche. Was thinking about it because of the PDF feature in Pro. Standardization in the movie industry. I'm not entirely sure.
Not leaving Scrivener, so sorry.
That's fine. That's
All
totally
right, they were cool, but no more.
Now we're gonna
Get out of my chat.
We're gonna beat Scrivener up. No. Is there, Carl? I don't understand your question quite. I'm sorry. An issue I have with other writing software is that they don't play nice with grammar checkers like Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid. Do you have any plans as well as integrated grammar checker? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. That we're pretty good friends with Pro Writing Aid.
Yeah,
so.
we're partial to Pro Writing Aid. I've talked to their CEO Chris. He's a very nice guy, and Jackson communicates pretty frequently with
their
marketing.
We're affiliates. So
so yeah, we like them a lot. I'd love to work integrate our tech with them. It's not something we'll have time to do until next month or maybe December, but it's something that we want to do and something that we should be able to do.
Yeah, we all love Pro Writing Aid, and everyone here in the office uses Pro Writing Aid. So it's a lot of fun to be able to be partners with them. Well, you have sold me. This weekend I will purchase Campfire.
Woo!
Thank you.
We did it.
Nice.
Oh my god.
We made there.
The company saved. We can eat tonight. Oh, I'm so hungry.
We get to
Thank
go eat
you.
dinner after this.
Oh.
I mean, also, but I don't know if Jason would smack me for saying this, but I might wait for Blaze. You can't buy Blaze yet, can you?
You can't yet. No.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
Blaze,
mean, you can buy Blaze.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
On November 1st.
2 weeks. November 1st, you can buy Blaze. Yes, that integration with Pro Writing Aid, because Scrivener does it. Scrivener does integration with Pro Writing
Do
Aid.
they? I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. They're both those companies are from England. They probably live.
Friendship with Pro Writing Aid ended. Grammarly is my best friend
Too
now.
much competition.
I'm just kidding. They're all great. I don't know how script exchanges work in these kinds of businesses. If there's a huge variety, providing a standardized environment for these ventures might be. We were actually talking about this at dinner last night. We were literally talking about how one of the biggest things for people who are writing and just connecting the people who write with the people who create stuff, that it feels like that pipeline is so clogged.
It's busted right now.
Yeah, and so that's something that we discussed some. Maybe getting into that. I don't know. I don't want to.
Let's not get into too much.
Yeah, that's something that we're exploring. It's hard to.
Raffo.
Yeah, it's really hard to say anything about that. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Read and find out. Yeah. All right. Integration with One Stop for Writers. I love their writing guides. I don't know what One Stop for Writers is.
I feel like have you told me about One Stop for Writers?
Yeah, I've looked at their website before. It looks cool.
What
I don't
is
know. I don't know if we'll integrate with them, but
was that the site that has the tips and?
Yeah, it's got a little thesaurus. They've got a thing for fleshing out characters and stuff. It's neat.
Okay, well, we don't have any more questions in chat right now. I'm gonna open up Blaze.
Sure.
I feel like open up Blaze. Oh man, I gotta find my tab.
Find your Blaze.
I found my Blaze.
You can probably cancel the new project.
Yes, I can. I sure can. And we're going to go to Blaze, and we're going to go to my fancy screen. Guys, I became an expert at OBS for this.
Can you put us in a panel, please?
Yeah.
Can we put us in a panel?
Please,
put me in a panel.
Oh, that's perfect. No, yeah, it has to be on the bottom so that it's
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's
there we are. Look at us. We're in Campfire Blaze. We're recently in Campfire Blaze. How exciting is that? And we're definitely just showing off OBS right now instead of Campfire Blaze.
Have anyone written a full novel in Campfire, or at least a short story or novella, Levi or Jackson? So since the manuscript editor is not out.
I think that he's meant in the company.
Okay. Yeah, I actually did write a novel. It's just about a bunch of boys who get in trouble at a summer camp. Hopefully, it's something that everybody will be able to read.
Eventually.
Toward the end of this year, right?
Yeah, ideally soon. Obviously stay tuned for that, but my first novel should be available to read in the coming months. So.
And Levi and I have both read it. It is a funny book.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Jackson writes comedy very well.
It's very good, and you can kind of see a sample of his writing in our podcast right now. For me, I have never written a full-fledged book before. I was actually more of a cinema guy. Coming into this, but I've written short stories. I've taken creative writing classes, but I've written short stories and short films. I will not share the short films because I made them when I was in college.
I made a short film in high school about Slender Man when I was 15. It's still up and people can watch it, and it's oh my god, it's bad.
Jackson, how helpful was Campfire in your process?
Campfire Pro.
This is the question that Jason didn't wanted. Because Jackson's a pantser.
I am a pantser, but I will say Especially the character sheets and the timeline were my two favorite features in Campfire Pro, because when I first started writing is when I discovered Campfire. Well, not when I first started writing the novels, when I found Campfire Pro, and I put everything into Campfire Pro, and it was immensely helpful because it's the little details that I always forget about. Because one of the main criticisms we get is people will be like, I don't need a writing software to help me remember stuff. It's your novel. You should be able to remember stuff. It's like, dude, I don't remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. I'm not going to remember, that I said in chapter 1 what color somebody's eyes were. I literally did that the other day. I was like, what color were their eyes? It's like, oh, campfire. So I would absolutely say that it was helpful to me, even though I'm a pantser. Now, I will say there was a certain point when I stopped using the timeline as much, because it was like I kept having to go back and change the whole timeline again, because I'm a pantser. Everything changes every 2 seconds. But for characters, which aren't going to change a whole lot, immensely helpful to me.
Yeah, and Easton, I'm writing a book right now, so I'm not slacking that much. I feel like we have an entire podcast about how we're writing books. So
everyone should watch that podcast because it's really good and it's worth watching. So go watch it.
You can literally read our manuscripts as we write them. They're like raw, they're unedited. So there's that. You get to see the whole process.
Carl asks, I saw that some advice that some writers should not self-publish because they might get a bad representative. I guess that's what rep means. Thoughts about that? See, I don't know a ton about self-publishing, which is something that we're gonna.
Bad rep meaning reputation.
I don't know. Oh, reputation might be it.
Yeah. So for one, I think some people who say that that's a little gatekeepy, right? Because self-publishing is a great option for a lot of people, and there's a lot of authors who have found a lot of success self-publishing. The traditional route, just like the whole script writing thing, I mean, it is not. It's miserable if you've ever tried to get an agent going traditional, and that's just that's not even step 1. I mean, step 1 is writing the novel, but getting an agent. Oh, it's miserable. Everybody has different requirements for their query letters. Everybody has different requirements for everything. I mean, you will query somebody, and then you won't hear back for months and months and months. The bad rep that self-publishing gets is when the first big boom came out and everybody was self-publishing books on Amazon and things like that, people weren't getting editors. I absolutely think if you're going to self-publish your book, you still need an editor.
A good editor.
Good editor, yeah. So I think that's partially where self-publishing gets a bad rap, and you just have to think what are your reasons for doing self-publishing, because you also don't want to tarnish your reputation by putting something out there that's not ready for the world to see, or maybe it's not your best work. If I had tried to self-publish the first thing I ever wrote, it was a dumpster fire, but I feel much better about this novel, and to where I'm comfortable enough publishing it.
In chat, Raphael asks, what's the lifetime price for Blaze?
Yeah, so that'll depend on like what modules you want, because each module you can purchase individually. So a writer who doesn't write fantasy might not have any need to purchase the languages module, for example, because they're never going to make their own fantasy language. So it'll depend on what you want. The prices per module vary from.
Be close to the mic, intern.
I think $15 are the cheaper modules for a lifetime purchase, and then $30 is the upper range. So characters just cost $30 to buy. Timeline is the same. So yeah, it varies, and you can customize according to what works best for you.
All right, we had another question. I lost it though.
What do you have pulled up?
You've got the.
Oh, whoops, my bad. I was just checking in on the stream. I forgot that it comes up over there. Yeah. We're experts at this. I am a pantser too. Oh man, I lost it. How is the text saved in Campfire? Is it plain text or rich text? What are exporting options?
It's rich text. You can export to plain text if you want to convert it. You can export to HTML. You can export to PDF, and you can export to Microsoft Word doc, or I think docx.
People in chat are talking about pantsing versus plotting. Unholy talked about how they're kind of in between. They have concrete plot points and how I'm going to reach them, but fluffing stuff once you get to it. I think that's where I'm at as well. It's so hard for me to write if I don't know where I'm headed. Unlike Jackson, who it fills him with glee to not know where he's headed.
Absolutely, I think it's so much more fun because I think when you pants, it's like I don't know where the story is going, so the reader's not going to either. You're not going to guess the plot twist. I mean, maybe you will because the edit, but
The edit is the problem.
The edit. But the other thing is, for me, like I can plot. Like if I had to, I could sit down and I could plot a novel. But for me, the fun is in discovering the story as I write it. And that's why I choose to pants instead of plot. Because if I plot everything out and I know exactly where everything's going, I don't feel as motivated to write. I'm like, I already know the story, you know?
Yeah. So,
Jury's still out on Blaze. We'll get
we're
you.
gonna get you, Easton. We're gonna get you.
We'll show you, man.
Well, no, this is actually important to address in terms of like the jury still being out on Blazes, because I've noticed some people's reactions is like, oh, Blaze still can't do everything that Pro can do, and it's like, yes, that's true. It's still in beta. Like it's still like lacks a lot of polish and like things that you could do in Pro.
Yeah.
And basically the bet we're taking, or the reason we rebuilt this thing, was not just for the sake of doing it and to have a new product. It's like we wanted to build a foundation that we can then go on to like improve and perfect for years to come. So we don't plan on releasing a successor to Blaze ever. Like we want to just keep building Blaze, until we run out of money or have to shut down the company. So Blaze is like, it's an investment in proper infrastructure so that we can build on it permanently.
Yeah. Vincent Van Vega said, I think I missed the entire stream. I have never done a stream on YouTube before, but I'm going to try and have it up so you can watch it if you want to go back and watch what we've already said at the beginning. Funda says, they said I pronounced her name earlier. Now I don't know if I don't remember how I pronounced it.
I think you said Funda.
Funda?
I think you said Funda.
I was on
glad that you're enjoying Campfire Pro.
Yeah, glad that you're enjoying Campfire Pro.
Desiree, what's up? You've been around for forever, since 2018.
Yeah.
She was one of the first couple people who bought. We remember.
We remember,
and we appreciate. Thank you so much for all the, everybody, for all the support, and all your word of mouth is huge, honestly.
Easton says you should let me help you out with the plotting.
You're doing it wrong.
I'm absolutely
Jackson.
a plotter as well, which is the reason I built Campfire, because I wanted to write a screenplay, and I was like, I need to plot this, because if I just start writing, it'll be bad.
Yeah. I feel that. The thing is, it was a little bit odd transitioning into writing a full book, because I've written plenty of short stories, and I kind of pant short stories because they don't really need that much planning. But now I tried to. The funny thing is, I was like, I did like a barely planned out my plot for my book, and then I started kind of half pantsing it, and I was like, oh no, I gotta plan so much more. I don't know where this is going. I gotta go back to the drawing board. So that's how it goes. Vincent Van Vega says, I want to thank Jason and Adam for assisting with my bug today on Discord.
You're welcome. Adam has been a champion in the Discord lately. He has been super active and it's because it's tough right now, because there's just so much that the development team has to build in time for November 1st, that we've just been like all over the place trying to like keep fix people's problems, but also be building the new stuff. So Adam has been super helpful with that, being in the chat and just like helping connect us to the customers, or to our like beta testers, so we can fix their problems.
Yeah, shout out to Adam. What a great addition to the team. Everyone check out World Building magazine. It's such a cool publication.
It is.
The fact that it's on the cloud makes it so much better, because the autosave means I don't have to worry about losing info if my computer randomly shuts off. Yeah, that is a very big bonus of having Blaze be in the cloud.
We make also backups of the entire like Campfire Blaze database. It updates a couple of times a day, and it keeps those like snapshots of your past data for a pretty good chunk of time. Basically, the way it works is like it'll take like, let's say it takes 3 snapshots in a day. After a week, like one of those will get deleted or something. After a month, I think it's more, it's like 6 months later, then like one of them will get deleted. So it's not like 2 snapshots a day forever, but it keeps one every. Basically, we keep a permanent snapshots of like past versions, so you should never have to worry about like actually permanently losing your work ever.
Yeah, I have a question for the chat regarding, because we're getting pretty far through this stream right now. And we've talked about doing more streams in the future. And I'm curious, I want you to leave a comment in the chat. If you would be interested in watching a semi-regular stream where we build, like, just kind of jokingly, like probably Jackson and I build like a character and story in Blaze. I would say Jason as well, but Jason actually doesn't live here.
Yeah,
Jason
I flew over here down to Knoxville, Tennessee
just for this live stream.
Just to take a look at our new office.
I'm seeing yes, more streams. So I'm going to say that yes. One person said yes, so yes.
We're doing it.
I want to do it. I just think it sounds like fun. Daniel Green, whose shirt this is, he did a Campfire stream once, and it was a ton of fun. So I was inspired. Campfire is also killer for RPGs. for those of us who are GMs, yes, my the dungeon master for my campaign, he uses Campfire to organize his stuff. So can confirm.
Should we stream playing video games?
Campfire
Let's Play?
Dude,
Campfire Let's Play Minecraft.
when I first started working here, I was like with my D&D group, I was like, guys, I'm gonna get it to where we can play D&D on. We're gonna do Critical Role. I was like, that is my ultimate goal with this. I want to do Critical Role.
Press 1 in the chat if you want the Campfire team to play Among Us together. 1 in the chat. Just press 1. That's it. Just press 1 in the chat.
Don't forget to hit the enter key so that.
And the enter key. Yeah.
I definitely be
You
more
want
interested in
Among
that.
Us.
And maybe you could highlight some more cool characters from your users from Desiree. We would love to highlight more of our like communities
Send it
creations. Yeah, send it to us. We have a place in the Discord for Snapchat. A lot of ones in chat. I love to see that.
It's happening.
But I've been trying to solicit more content from people lately because like we used to post them on our socials and stuff like that, and then we kind of stopped because we got busy with doing marketing stuff. But I would love to start sharing more of our users' work. Just send it in. Please
Drop it
send
in Discord. You can direct message myself, Levi, Liv, Adam, anybody.
Michael, I saw that you invited people to play Among Us last night, and I'm sad that I missed it because I haven't gotten a group together to play Among Us. So
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it'd be a ton of fun. Highlighting.
That's what we should do. We should have Campfire like community nights, and we just get some people in here. We do some
play some
Among Us.
Jackbox or something.
Ooh, some Jackbox would be fun too.
Jackbox is the best, but also Jackbox might be a little bit too PG-13 for the stream. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe a little bit of M for mature. I don't know. That's how it always goes at my house. I feel like. I write alternative history. The timeline tool is genius. Never thought about it that way, but yeah. That's cool. I think even Blaze you can use like Gregorian calendar, which I think that's a great tool for alternative history.
Yeah,
you can make it, you can match it up day by day. Jackbox is awesome. I love Jackbox. That is the party game of choice in the house. All right. I don't have any more questions pulled up.
Daniel's sponsors spots, like the little where he talks about Campfire Pro, are like the best out of anybody every time. Because I'm the one who gets to see them before they go live, and every time one hits my inbox, I'm excited because it's gonna be something new and something.
He always
crazy.
Raises the bar on them. They're so funny.
He does. I don't know how he keeps doing it.
Every time that Levi goes to shoot a little like Blaze promo for our videos, you're like, oh, I'm gonna beat Daniel Green's.
I just can't put my lav mic on a sword like Daniel does. I think our neighbors in the office building would be upset if I brought a saber into the office.
We're just at box cutter level. We're not
How
ready
long have
for
you been
swords.
holding that?
He's been
worry.
waiting to brandish it at just the right time.
Don't worry about it.
Jackson's had a weapon this entire time, ready to brandish.
I
will say this: the option to buy different modules. Good job. Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's very useful. Also, I can't believe you just brandished a weapon, Jackson. That is absolutely ridiculous.
But blur it out. That was PG-13. That was too dangerous. Yeah, the whole buy different modules thing kind of came from just the idea of like you buy a subscription in Netflix, but you can't just pick like what you want to watch. Like think about it. Your grandma's probably not watching horror movies on Netflix. So it's like, what if you could just pay for everything except for the horror movies? And that's kind of where we were inspired from there.
And it's like if we had one plan for everything Blaze, imagine someone who just wants to write like, just like a romance that takes place in the modern day, and they don't need to build fantasy languages and cultures and religions and species and maps and all that stuff. They just want characters and a good plot. You only need like a couple modules for that. You need the characters module, the timeline module, and like the manuscript module, and maybe relationships, and that's pretty much it.
Arcs is nice too.
Arcs, yeah,
especially
and
for I feel like relationships. Arcs goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah, those do.
I think you could do well.
But basically, there's no need for somebody like that to buy all the other stuff, and so we want to make it so that you don't have to worry about that.
FBI is on the way.
He waited an hour and a half to make that joke. I would have waited longer if it got laughs.
Do you guys currently have ideas for what future modules might be, ones we haven't seen yet in Pro, but that weren't announced already? Ooh, is that?
We've got a couple that like we've been throwing around, and like the main thing with the couple, because like. I mean, we have some that we wanted to like put in Pro, but just never quite. It's all about demand, and like, is it worth our time to put in like this new module, even though it's really cool and people will definitely enjoy it? Is it too niche for us to focus on right now? Yeah. So I suspect 2 years from now we'll have a couple of niche modules and things like that are more specific or you know, that are more unique that you probably won't see on other like writing softwares or anything like that. But it's all just about what you guys want. So if you want something, if you need something, be loud and be obnoxious.
I've heard interesting ideas tossed around. Like someone had said a kind of module where you could outline your plot, not the way that the timeline does it, but more in a traditional outline-y form.
Yeah.
You know, with like headings and description, like a kind of just a different way of looking at it.
You could, like, I feel like that we've talked about how the manuscript editor can is going to have different kind of versions to it, so we can use it because Michael.
Yeah, we have the manuscript module. We might also have like the screenplay module.
Yeah, Michael just asked in chat something that would help with screenwriting specific stuff would be awesome. We definitely plan on having the manuscript editor be.
Well,
like,
it would be a different module. So we have
it's
the manuscript module, and then we would add a new one called like the screenplay module, and it would be the same concept. You get the same functionality of like being able to access, like on that like links panel, all the different links.
but with screenplay formatting.
But with screenplay formatting.
Yeah.
See you later, Easton.
Yeah, thanks for
hanging out and asking all the questions.
Thanks for all the
You've been
questions.
awesome.
Yeah.
Another one that I'd love to see is just something for like comic book writers or web comics, you know, something where, you know, people can go in and draw or upload their drawing into panels.
I know we've talked about
that.
this a couple times. I don't know, because a lot of people want to be able to make maps in the program and not have to upload maps. So we've talked about maybe we're not going to build a map module. Like
not anytime soon anyways.
Yeah.
I've thought about it. The thing with a map builder is it is a significantly more time consuming thing to have to build than like something like characters or timeline, or not timeline is tough, but like characters or, you know, species or stuff like that, because it's not just like moving panels around on a canvas. It's like you need to be able to like paint all these textures and
layers.
There's a lot to it, and it just would take the investment that we'd have to make to like do it well would just take a lot more time than other things. So the opportunity cost is pretty high.
I know, but we talked about it in the past a couple of times, like maybe like partnering with because there's so many map making programs out there already. Like, I don't know, like something that maybe seamlessly integrates with Blaze in the future.
We have a relationship with Dungeon Fog, the Dungeon Fog guys.
Oh yeah.
So that's something that we could potentially do, and I've actually talked to them, and they're potentially like down for that. So.
I know we talked about
Incarnate as well.
Incarnate. I think we talked to them. I don't know.
We
Jackson?
did.
We did.
Yeah.
I use Incarnate for my maps when I'm making maps. So
yeah, dialogue trees. That's something that I'd love to see as well, and that'd be great for people who are writing video games or RPGs.
Oh,
yeah, the trees.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I never even considered that before.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Thanks for dropping by, Red. See you later. Hopefully you can get the podcast soon.
The dialogue tree thing is interesting. It brings out what I was talking about in terms of like the reason we price modules individually. Someone who's a video game writer will obviously love to use dialogue trees, but that is something that nobody else would have any interest in, really. You know what I mean? So if we priced everything under one subscription, you just be all this extra stuff thrown in that you wouldn't want to like have or pay for. Yeah.
Lindsay said that she'd love to see an idea bucket. And I think we kind of have, like, when we opened up the manuscript editor, in the bottom right there was a notes section, and I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
What we actually want to do is add notes across all of Blaze, and what that would look like is, I think Campfire Pro actually has this. I built this in Campfire Pro.
It is.
It's a little, look at you, power user Campfire Pro, knowing what the features are.
It's in the bottom right.
It is. It is. You hit the little notepad icon in the bottom right, and it'll pop up with a little thing where you can put in notes, and you can access that from anywhere.
I'm going to move this for a second. Down here, so the idea, this is what you're talking about, right? Having the notepad and it goes across the, because what's the notepad on here? The notepad.
What about it?
I was just saying that's where it is. That's what you're talking about.
That is the notepad. Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that says notepad.
Yeah, I was just pointing it out for the watchers, the people who watch. Have you guys heard of Wonder Draft and Dungeon Draft?
I've heard of Wonder Draft. I've not heard of Dungeon Draft, I don't think.
No, I haven't heard of those either. Jackson, you know all the websites.
Oh, of course I've heard of it. That's my dad, my uncle invented. No, I've never heard of that.
By static,
I've heard of Wonder Draft though.
Something that stays open regardless of what project you're in. It seems doable.
Yeah, the notes thing I was talking about is like this little icon would sit in the bottom right, basically no matter where you are. And my idea for the notes thing is that when you hit that button to open up the notepad, there'd be 3 tabs to the notepad, and the first tab is for the project you're in, so it's notes for that project, and basically that tab is consistent across no matter where you open the notes thing. If you're in that project, you see those same exact notes, And then the next tab would be like the module you're in, so you could have notes just for like the characters module that wouldn't appear if you open notes from like the timeline. And then the last tab would be for the specific like thing that you're looking at, so like the specific character you have selected. And then those notes wouldn't appear if you opened it like on some different character, basically. So that's my tentative idea for notes.
Vincent, I'll have to check out Wonder Draft because I love making maps. Maps are so much fun. I don't know if you guys were ever super into making maps, but I remember using Microsoft Paint in like high school trying to make a D&D campaign to try and make maps. And it was always horrible, but it was a lot of fun. Vincent says, yeah, Wonder Draft is good. Desiree asked, do you have any plans for drag and drop between panels?
Yes, we do. We won't have it in time for launch. I don't know when we'll have it yet, but it is definitely something we want to do because that would obviously be super handy.
Emily says, I use Asgard's fantasy map generator because I can't afford Wonder Draft. What, is that the one that...
Yes.
That's the one you use?
Asgard's is open source.
Asgard's is so cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, that's also a very interesting one because it'll like make the different layers.
That's the best part. In terms of using Asgard's with Blaze's map module, you can just export the different layers as individual images.
I'm
going
gonna
to
find this.
You can upload them as
cool.
layers in Blaze. Do you want to actually upload it in Blaze? Or did you already do it?
I have one in Blaze.
Cool.
I made one. I can't remember which story file it's in.
Do you want to share the screen?
Yeah, I will once I find it. Vamp, talk about something.
But yeah, Asgard's is cool.
Spaghetti.
It's open source. I don't know if we'd be able to like properly integrate with them because of the way that the code is written, but I love the tool. I've used it. And like I said, with Blaze, it works perfectly.
I'm not going to be able to do it right now. I did it before the big
the
big
image
explosion.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can export each layer from Asgard's to its own like PNG, and then you can upload them as individual layers to our maps module in Blaze. And so you can just switch between the different layers if you want to look at like the biome view or whatever, you can hit that. If you want to look at like the topo layer, you can do that. The political map, etc.
Hi, Victoria. Glad to have you. Thanks for being here. Will there be a YouTube video introducing all the features of Campfire Blaze? I find the videos for Campfire Pro on your channel quite helpful. Yes, we will have like little tutorials and everything, so help you guys learn all the little tips and tricks, and that way you won't ever get stuck.
Yep.
So we should have those out. We'll probably start rolling those out like this winter, this fall. Gotta go. See you later. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out. I'm seeing if I can get this. I'm trying to
The
find
map
my
setup?
Yeah, I'm trying to find my maps because it's so cool. It's so cool to see, but I don't know if I.
It looks like you have the maps pulled up there.
This is just a screenshot
Gotcha.
from before.
Gotcha.
Man, I wish I had that saved still.
Did you write any test cases for Blaze? Would that even be possible?
Should I give a good answer to this question? We plan on investing a little bit more in the testing side of things once the software is a bit more like stable and we've built out like the foundation for it. Right now our testing is a little bit behind, I would say, but we plan to invest a little bit more in that as time goes on.
Man, I'm not gonna be able to find my maps. That's so upsetting.
Wonder Draft is much easier to pick up. Have to try it out sometime.
Yeah, I mean, Incarnate is nice because I feel like I can do a lot on it, but also, I say there is definitely a learning curve that I currently exist below. I am still below that curve, but I think it's a lot of fun. I did think there was a learning curve with Asgard, but for me it was worth it. Yeah, Asgard, I mean, it's still pretty simple though. I mean, because you just get to select what layers you want. Man, that's so cool.
I think it's a really cool tool, for sure.
Yeah, do we have any more questions in chat? Will there be YouTube all the features in Blaze?
Yeah, we talked about
we
that.
covered it.
All right, cool deal.
Good to go.
Also, did we mention that we're going to start doing tutorials soon?
Yeah, that's along with that.
Cool deal. I was trying to figure out the map, so I zoned
You're
out
good,
for a
no
second.
worries.
You're good.
Got to go with the extreme programming development cycle.
Yeah, our dev cycle is very fast.
Slight oversight in the attribute panel.
You-
a lot
you-
of stuff for school stuff, but no space for extracurriculars.
Yeah, that attributes panel is not final by any means. It's like we dumped a bunch of attributes while we were developing, like that just we could like come up with and find and put it in there. It's really easy on our end to add new attributes to that panel. So at some point, we're probably will like run a survey or something and just collect people's ideas for attributes for like all the different things, and then just update the panel to have like way more stuff.
Yeah, so if there's ones that you want, let us know. Like tweet at us, put it in the Discord.
We'll probably just do that periodically too. Like, you know, we'll never be able to cover everything. So whatever people want is what we'll end up to keep adding. The intern is pretty cool. Y'all should pay him.
Seriously, when is that? When are you guys gonna start? God.
He's never made my coffee right a single time.
Funnily enough, the intern pays us somehow.
Cut the video. Cut the video.
Get it out.
Yeah, we appreciate the intern.
All right. I guess we'll do a last call on questions, and then we'll call it here in just a minute.
Yeah, we got a dip here in 20 minutes. But while everybody's here, like we said, be sure to check out the podcast. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you are watching the live stream, you have to subscribe.
Also, I'm gonna put it in the chat one more time. Check out our NaNoWriMo contest.
Yes,
that's coming up soon.
Yeah, $3,000
up to $3,000
towards publishing your book.
Yep. If you complete NaNoWriMo and you plan your story in Blaze during November, then you will submit it to us. You can be entered to win $3,000 for so many different things to get your book published. So definitely check that out. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the affiliate links. This is how Jax and I always finish the podcast.
We just ramble.
There's so many links to click down below, and there's so many things to do in life.
And it's easy to throw it all out there, but legitimately, if you do go check out the links and check out our affiliate links and stuff, it really does help us out a lot, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. So how did building a story go?
Carl, I don't want to hear it from you. You're banned. Do we have a moderator? Ban that guy.
Is there a link to the Discord? There should be a link to the Discord in the description of this video.
And on our homepage, on our homepage of our website.
Yeah, and
you
can
also find the social links.
You can go to any of the videos on our channel. There'll be a link to the Discord down below. How did building a story go for the stream? It went great, Carl. It went great.
Fantastic.
We did so well. I swear to God, that's what we're gonna do next stream.
Carl's dead to me.
When Jason's out of town and I can say email Jason for all the technical questions instead of having him actually answer them, then we'll do the Stop it! Stop brandishing a weapon.
Carl.
All right.
Watch out, Carl.
Well,
As
y'all.
someone who's been writing for 13 years and has only finished one book after starting 8 million of them, that's quite the incentive. Yeah. I mean, this is your chance, Des, for real.
The real story were all the interactions we had along the way.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you, Carl.
That's
that made up for
redemption.
It. That's back in the
Carl,
family.
you're all right. I'm
Carl.
gonna put the box cutter away.
Carl.
For you.
Next time, Jason's just gonna
He's
come
got a
in here
silver tongue
with a full sword. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, Des. Absolutely, because we want to have a lot of submissions and we want to have a lot of different stories to pick from and everything like that. So I think the deadline is gonna be December 15th. All that's on the contest page, but. Phew.
Yeah, there are a couple rules for the competition, as with all competitions. So make sure you check that out.
They're not too intense, but
no. It's just someone earlier asked about if they could submit in French.
Yeah, in French.
It has to be in English. Well,
cool.
That's all I can think of. I think it's about time to go get dinner.
I'm getting hungry.
I'm starving.
Levi?
All I had was like 2 pieces of fried chicken because we're in the South and that's what you guys eat down here.
Yeehaw, good buddy. It's
Fried
what we
chicken.
do around here.
Yeehaw.
I haven't eaten a vegetable in days.
Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by the stream. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to do
Levi?
these again.
Where can people find more stuff about you?
Stuff about me? Well, we have a YouTube channel, and I'm on Twitter at Levi Johnson 42.
Oh, he just said that so that he could say his Twitter handle.
And I am also on Twitter. You can follow me at swagxmcnasty.
Oh,
and tweet at him and tell him how bad his Twitter handle is.
So good.
It's the worst Twitter
I'll
handle
never
ever.
change it. I'll never change it. It's gold.
Jason, do you want to plug your Twitter?
I was like, why is
you barely
why was he
you barely-
asking Levi? And I was like, oh, I put it together.
setup.
All right, see y'all.
Swag
It's been so nice.
It's been nice. I'm gonna have
That's
FOMO
good.
the next time you guys do this. I won't be able to be here because I'll be in the north again.
Yeah, maybe we'll get you.
Can we get like a doll, like an intern doll? It's like
No,
Jason.
that's
Cole.
weird. That's
Cole the
weird.
intern.
Cool.
Cole the intern.
All right.
That's pretty bad. Ouch.
All right, I'm gonna actually end the stream now.
All right, ladies
Okay,
and
bye guys.
gentlemen.
Love
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you
guys.
so much for
Bye-bye.
hanging out. We really appreciate you.
Oh yes, I'm sure I want to end my stream.